Good morning, YouTube. It is August 4th, the first tour of August, and it is a chilly 18 degrees. So let's get started. As you can see, my squash have been filling out quite a bit. I've had to start trying to direct them so they don't get too tangled, as I planted them very, very close. But I had the idea in mind to stretch them out and have lots of space to do that. So far that's working. In my tangled zucchini mess, there are quite a few little zucchinis starting in there. I should be able to harvest, hopefully maybe by the end of this week, get a few. My tomatillos are now absolutely covered in fruit. They've been quite happy. My sweet potato patch is still trying to spread and is growing green and strong. So I'm sure those will be growing for quite a bit longer in this garden before I try and harvest them. My russet potato here looks like it might be getting ready to harvest. It looks like it might be starting to die back. Maybe a little, not a lot. It still looks very, very green. That other russet potato that I planted recently looks like it's trying to grow, which is a good sign, but I probably will not be getting a full set of potatoes out of it. My paste tomatoes, my big mamas, they're still coming in looking rather curled and very sad. I think I'm going to take off some of these lower leaves, try to thin them out a bit, and maybe that might help. I'm still getting lots of tomatoes. Nothing's cracking. Everything looks really good and really healthy. The only tomato I have a slight problem with so far is this one, but it just formed that way. But the rest are looking good and green and healthy, except those leaves. Those leaves are just looking really, really bad. And of course, one of my biggest squash plants is one of the ones that has decided it wants to grow right through my garden. One of these other ones is also wanting to, but it's a much smaller leafed plant, so I'm not as concerned and worried about this one growing through my garden. But this one has absolutely monstrous leaves. So it's monster plant. Still periodically coming out and taking some leaves off of my pepper plants to try and get them to grow up a little bit more, because I definitely wasn't taking off the bottom leaves and suckers the same way that I was the tomato plants. I wasn't quite as concerned about my pepper plants. I was hoping they would do a little bit better on their own, but so far they haven't gotten much bigger than the onions. But I am starting to see some peppers at least. My other tomato plants are doing just fantastic. Some of them are already getting very close to the top of the fence. But they're all looking very, very nice. And yes, that too. I'm just starting to see some color on my tomatoes, which is very exciting. My other patch of squash here is just kind of eating everything around it, which is not too surprising. I should have spaced those out a little bit better. These beans in here are almost a lost cause because they're just being swallowed up. My mustard plant in here is still getting absolutely just demolished by caterpillars now. Since the flea beetle problem is gone, the caterpillars have taken over. But apparently it is one of those years where there is just an excessive amount of caterpillars and moths. So that makes me feel at least a little better, because last time I grew some greens, I did not have this problem. At least nowhere near this bad. My eggplants are filling out quite nicely. Didn't realize how scary and spiky those eggplant buds looked. This zucchini plant I planted sometime after the one that's up in the front corner that's massive. And it looks like I'll be harvesting a lovely looking zucchini out of this plant. Hopefully in the next couple days. I'll let that get a little bit bigger before I harvest it. Happily growing through this zucchini plant is my huckleberry, and it's got a ton of new little berries and buds all over it, so I'll be getting lots and lots of little fruits off of this. Some lovely slime mold hiding underneath that zucchini plant. My ground cherry's still looking happy, and the zucchini planted way too close to it. It's a little late, but I figured I'd try to grow another one. My melons are starting to look a little more impressive and are starting to vine and stretch a little more, and you can see some little flowers on there now. My tree tomatoes are looking really good. They've got about 1 million little flowers on there right now, so I'll be getting lots and lots of little tomatoes off of these freebies. My sour gherkins are doing alright. They're starting to put out some new growth. I'm starting to put out some little flower buds. And there is one of only 2 marigolds that I have. I planted lots of them, and so far I've just gotten leaves, but now you can see in there I've got some more flower buds. So hopefully these plants will stop looking so disappointing and have some more than 1 flower on all, like 10 of my plants. Lots of different tomatoes coming in all different shapes and sizes. Lots more tomatoes to be. Lots and lots of buds in there. Hopefully by the end of this week, I have my first garden tomato of the year. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Like and share my video, subscribe for future content, and I'll catch you next week.